When I walk into a bookstore, there's so many books, I forget what I'm even fucking there for, and I have to poop all of a sudden.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Tattoo Guardians podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Mr. Matt Clemmer, sitting here with Mr. Joshua Carlton. Today, me and Josh cover the gamut on a lot, from client relations, when it's okay to say no, for artists that take everything and walk in the door, God bless your soul, and when it's okay to start being selective. Thanks for listening.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Tattoo Guardians podcast. Today, I'm sitting down with my brother, Matt. Unfortunately, Hip is not with us today. He is knees deep in a tattoo marathon, which we all understand, and will likely happen from time to time, but I'm super happy and proud to sit down with my brother Matt and get talking about some really important stuff. So let's go. How you feeling today, Matt?
Oh my goodness, I'm fucking blessed. And really, to all you listeners out there, in case you are envious of me, I feel like I know how special I am to be getting to sit here and share a podcast with Mr. Joshua Carlton. So that alone is time for celebration. So yeah, I'm doing great. Yeah, how are you?
Like I'm great, man. It seems like these podcasts can't come soon enough. I feel like we did one last Tuesday, but I feel like it's been a couple of weeks at least. So It's definitely nice to reconnect. I think with the whole COVID thing, it's like this is like the best way to feel like I'm a human being. You know what I mean? Like talking to another person that's the same species as me. You know?
Jeez, brother.
Right?
Yeah, it's just been therapeutic. It's our therapy, and hopefully it's everyone's.
Yeah, and I'm really hoping you listeners out there are feeling the same way. You know what I mean? I hope that you enjoy us bringing this to you weekly, and it's something that we can all kind of connect with together, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What are we going to even talk about tonight?
Yeah, I had an interesting experience today that I wouldn't mind talking a little bit about.
Awesome.
I've been working with the client just via email, for the last, 2 weeks, talking about an exciting appointment. But it just kind of turned out that even though I will communicate with this client and give them great ideas that they agree on, I keep getting emails back from them, and it just seems like it's getting murkier and murkier to the point that I'm not really sure I understand maybe exactly what this client wants. And it allows me to reflect on, with my 30 years experience in tattooing, I've dealt with this before. Yeah. And the old Josh would have been like, oh, that's a problem for future Josh. Well, future Josh fucking showed up hard and quick. You know what I mean? Future Josh took on way too many things at once. So now I'm able to sit back and reflect and think about it and realize I'm not homeless or starving, so I don't have to take every penny that comes my way, and kind of start to ask myself the question of, is this client the right client for me? Am I going to give this client the tattoo that she deserves? She deserves the best tattoo possible. And it's pretty narcissistic of me to think that I can just please everybody. And if I'm just not communicating well with this person, maybe it's time for me to step aside, possibly help her find somebody that maybe is a little more in her wheelhouse. Yeah. It's not about me being too good for her tattoo at all.
Sure, right.
It's simply about, I'm not really understanding what you want. And I guess let me kind of back up. What it boils down to is I feel like, so this person, I don't want to talk too personally about it because I feel like if they're watching it, I might offend them, but hopefully not if they are listening. They have an incredibly beautiful sleeve from an artist in Canada. It's really, really beautiful floral work. And I believe it's her only tattoo. And she wanted me to tattoo her torso with some birds and a fox. And that sounds great, right up my alley. But instead of kind of letting me send her some reference that I like and talk about placement, she seems to be extremely specific and wants me to make sure that it can incorporate into her sleeve. And to me, when you say torso, I think of a whole torso. Like, what do you mean exactly? And I can't seem to get her to tell me where she wants it exactly. And I know how I am. And on the day of, if we didn't communicate and finalize this project, she would show up and there'd be a lot of changes, and I would get very, I have a little window of where I feel like I'm not able to give you my best work. If I start second guessing myself, I think the work could suffer, right? Have you ever experienced that before?
My
you know
God.
What I mean? Like,
Josh, I think every artist listening can relate to everything you're sharing right now.
Right? It's like if you're tattooing a rose and then they point to, and they say, let me get a little bit of purple on the tip of that one right there. It's like, well, that's not in the reference, and why would that petal be purple? But you have to understand that you're the artist. The chances of them being an artist are extremely small. And even if they are an artist, they're usually the kind of artist that likes to glue macaroni to stuff and call it art. You know what I mean? It's not. So again, not to offend anybody, but I'm just realizing that with every email, she seems to be getting further and further from what I thought the idea was, including she said she wanted these birds in flight. So my idea was to start with 2 beautiful birds in flight, probably on her rib cage or something like that, and maybe later on down the road, a fox on her hip, maybe the head coming, peeking up, looking up at these birds.
Yeah.
Seems fairly straightforward to me. So I did a digital concept of a bird in flight, had kind of an oil painting look, and she said she loved it. And I was like, this is great. This is perfect. Well, today she sent me 2 other birds. Now, keep in mind, she's always said birds in flight. She sent me 2 other bird pictures.
Perched.
They were just they were perched.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then she sent me a really poorly done like anatomical sketch of a bird in flight, and that was a different species of bird, and wanted to know if I could like fill that in with realism. And it just became so like convoluted, where I was like, So I know me, and every time I go to put needles to skin, I'm gonna be like, is this what she wants? Especially with the looser stuff that I do, I'm not gonna have the confidence to be bold and brash and do my Joshua Carlton thing that she would travel for, right?
Yes.
So,
and what's interesting amongst everything you're sharing right now, sorry for cutting you off.
No problem.
Right there. And for all our listeners, I remember talking to you 2 weeks ago. You were talking to me and Hip. We were getting ready to podcast. And you alluded to this client, but this was 2 weeks ago.
Did I really?
But, yeah,
so it's already on my mind.
It was already on your heart. You're already saying, man, guys, I got this one client that I'm starting to wonder if I'm going to be the right artist for her or not. Yeah. And like you just said, here we are 2 weeks later. Today, you were able to fully determine that. And so what that tells me, because what occurs a lot with us, the more we grow internally, is we will be given red flags early on.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah. And I, like you were talking about your future self, man, these days, because I was, whether it's people pleasing or I like a challenge, and kind of, because you mentioned earlier, I realized I can't please everybody. And that is so, that's so true. But early, basically, and we got a rule at aisle 9, if you've got a red flag on the front end, I'd rather you obey it then, because it's going to hurt and cost us more on the back end.
Yeah, that's so true.
At least you were able to save yourself from actually moving forward and working with her, and then realizing like, oh, this isn't the right. At least you never started her. Yeah. It's even worse when when we take those clients that we just had red flags. There's a communication breakdown, oil, water. Somehow we're just not jiving, and still tattoo them. It always ends up worse on the back
every
end.
Time. Yeah. Every time I've ever done it, I've regretted it. And because I'm a competent tattooer, she would get a good, clean tattoo.
Sure.
But that vision that she has that I can't crack open that skull and really see, it's not going to be there. Right? So it's not going to be my best work. And at this point in my career, that's really what I'm focused on. So it's not about, oh, I'm too good for that, I only do what I wanted. It's not that. I wanted to work with her, and she's super sweet. I really like this woman. I'm having a hard time communicating with her on my end. Yes. The funny thing is that my wife caught it really early on. She was like, I'm getting some red flags. Yeah. That she seems a little bit all over the place, and she's probably really excited about getting this work from you, which I appreciate. So I was like, oh, she's great, I got this. And she's great. I'm just not communicating the best on my ability that I can. And so I guess what I'm saying is that, at what point, Matt, do you feel like, you don't want to get to where you're just like, I cannot work in these conditions, and you're just turning stuff away left and right. Yeah. But, you kind of have to ask yourself, like, at what point do you, kind of realize this client's not the one for you? And if you work in a shop that has a lot of great, competent artists, the best thing is to obviously hand them over to somebody that can fit with them better. I'm in a private studio. I've got Caitlin working for me, but she does mainly like black dot work, so it's not really for her. Yeah. And then you have the whole thing of like, in the past, I've used to recommend people to other artists, but you never know what they're doing or up against. And I've even recommended a few people to great artists where they went with them and they still weren't really happy with the tattoo. And then I feel a little responsible. So
yeah, that's tough.
there's, I'm the guy that if I take you to the movies and the movie sucks, I feel bad. Like
Right.
I take on too much, you know what I mean? But
yeah.
so, I have not heard back from this client yet.
Okay. How did you end it?
I did say, hey, I'm a little confused. These birds aren't in flight. They're not chickadees, which is all we've been talking about. They're a completely different kind of bird. I thought you really liked the picture I sent you, so I thought we did have a plan. And now I'm starting to feel like you're maybe not sure of it. And I just kind of said what I said to you earlier is that, if I'm questioning whether or not is this really what she wants, the work could suffer. And at this point in my career, I'm just not willing for that.
Sure.
I'm taking a long time. No, I'm checking my phone every 20 minutes. Because either she's going to say, I really appreciate your honesty, and that's wonderful of you that you didn't just take my money, because obviously I have a deposit, which I'm going to give all the way back, even though I've done art. And who cares? Yeah. I'm going to give her deposit back, and maybe suggest somebody. I don't know who exactly. You know what I mean? If she's in Portland, so maybe there's some great tattooers in Portland.
Sure.
Not trying to get rid of her. I'd love to work with her on a future project if she can say, I want this.
Yeah, right.
That's where I kind of need to see. I don't need you to send me a picture. It's just I want birds on a branch and some berries. Okay, here's the picture I put together. I love it. I'll see you next Tuesday. Boom. That's done.
Yeah.
But when it's like, what about? And, when you put the stencil on and they want you to move it like the slightest bit over and then back, no, move it back, move it down. It's like, there's only so much you can do.
That's right. I mean? That's right, brother. Yeah, and what I'm hearing, come out of you, which, amongst many things, is how much consideration you have for the client, even one that you're no longer feeling like working with. Your level of care, consideration for her is still high, especially compared to so many artists. And so I appreciate that about you. So with you, at least, this isn't a level of care for others that's dictating this. This is all coming down to, are you a right fit or not?
Right.
And that's not good, bad, right, or wrong.
Yeah, it just is. It's not like we don't vibe as people. It's just she's got it sounds to me like she's got a vision, and it's a beautiful one, and I'm just having a hard time quite understanding. And the times in my past that I've dealt with that, I mean, I'll go back to a long time ago and tell you a horror story. When I was just a little newbie tattooer, somebody came in the shop, and I did whatever walked in the door, you know what I mean? And they said they wanted a shamrock. I think now they were describing a shadow. I think they wanted a shamrock with a shadow underneath it, but they didn't say shadow. They're like, with some black shading over. It just didn't make any sense to me. I don't even remember what I did, but I remember going like that, and they were like, not really.
Right,
it's like forever. So, those are the early days of me kind of, communication. Communication is, in life in general, communication is incredibly important. And it's difficult sometimes to communicate with clients that they just have such a vision that they've carried around with them for so long. And then they found the artist that they think can do it, because I'll get emails and it's like, I love your shading. Can you do this lettering on me?
Right.
And it's like, it's like, you're going to pay my prices and get lettering that anybody that does good, clean lettering is going to do. I would find a lettering person like Boog or somebody that's just like smashes it. Like, I'm going to do good lettering on you, but why would you come to me for that?
That's right. Yep.
So
that's right. And that's where it's our responsibility always in our communication to also educate. Exactly. Because that person, I get it too, Josh. People will see my Instagram, first tell me how amazing and how I am, they're coming to me to get like, a name on their wrist, and you won't find any lettering in my portfolio. But people think if you can do this,
it's not going to look. It's not going to look like, that's Matt Clemmer lettering. No, no one's going to know.
And thankfully, I know, and in-house we have a wonderful lettering specialist that I'll tee up, pass the baton over, but I also have to educate that client so that they have an understanding versus they feel like they're being kicked to the curb, or that I don't want to do it, Yeah,
it's a delicate balance, because I don't want her to think that I'm like, here's your deposit back. It's not. I just don't want that. And, that's why I'm kind of checking my phone to see, because she likely will just tell me thank you and she understands and she's bummed out it didn't work out. But some people might just be like mad. You just never know. You know what I mean? You never know. And whatever it is, I've already, I've already adjusted my books for giving her deposit back, and
Sure.
I'm trying to think of maybe who can work with her. Again, she has such an incredibly beautiful sleeve.
Yeah.
I kind of suggest going back to that artist, to be honest with you.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of them. Back to this communication thing. Is there ever a point that you pick up the phone? And I know a lot of artists that don't. It doesn't sound like you do because you keep saying email.
I don't.
Which is
I don't,
that's
yeah.
all right. That's great.
Yeah.
There's no. This ain't good, bad, right, or wrong.
I mean,
I know for guys like you or all of us, since our product and service eventually ends up in person and we have to talk, even if it's hi, welcome, because you even alluded to, if we couldn't get clear via email and she came all the way shop, showed up, and then you'd almost have to have a last minute in-person consult that's
So you're
already
saying-
draining. And so instead of waiting to that horror moment that you're already going into the game with some sort of lack, unless you're one of the few that can go in with all the hope in the world, I can turn this around. Most of us from that point have already got some bricks of, oh fuck.
Yeah. Once you get it in your head.
That's right.
So that's pretty smart though. So yeah, maybe a good thing as I move forward. Hey, can I give you a quick phone call?
Mm-hmm. And that's something. It's hard for so many artists to do because not all of us are comfortable. And even our biggest, the guys on our squad that are the biggest introverts, the most calm, quiet Eeyore voices. We even help them step into their power, because getting on the phone doesn't mean you have to be good at talking. This is a communication, but on a phone call now we can get authentic clarity. You can hear cadence and tone that sometimes is missed.
Yeah, that's so
on
true.
one end or the other in a
absolutely.
typing message.
Yeah, what did they mean by that? Yeah, it's like they didn't mean anything by that, but
that's right.
Like I remember when I was first on the internet, and I'd be like, "What is your email address?" And they would just send just their email address. And, in my brain, they weren't like excited or
right.
I'll see you next week. I was like, maybe they're mad at me. Right. You know what I mean? Like I'm this sensitive artist. You know what I mean? So I definitely take way too many things to heart. So no, that's really smart, Matt. I appreciate that. I think that as I move forward. Yeah, maybe like if it gets to that point where you're unsure, maybe it's time for a phone call. Yeah. Feel it out from the phone call and the cadence of their voice, and you can actually, take care of some things.
That's right. And in that phone call, the hope would be for obviously clarity to shine through, and that both of you feel complete, even if that is you are parting ways. And if you have to have the uncomfortable breakup talk, which we do,
it happens.
At least I'm respecting them enough and confident enough, or whatever. I don't even want to say confident enough, care enough to have that conversation. Yeah. But yeah, so that's one reason why I was curious about picking up the phone when shit's like so, and the appointment's coming up, and we're not excited, and we're anointed and weird, because it's not just about the client. It's okay for this to also be about you and us artists, knowing that you're allowed to have preferences. We're especially guys like you, Josh, who have worked your whole life. The point of this is for us to be the best versions of ourselves and design our life accordingly and around like who we are and what we want. And so, because it's crazy. We're having this conversation right before we hopped on. I on one of the Facebook groups popped up, I think it was Shop Council or whatever, there's a question posed in there. At what point can a guy start to be selective about the work he takes on? I've been tattooing for 12 years now. The old timers have always told me, you fucking take anything that walks in the door. I've been doing it 12 years. At what point am I allowed to? And, my heart sunk, because someone needs to let that brother know whenever you so decide,
Yeah, this is a big conversation that I have during my seminars. A lot of people are kind of at a point in their career. I've my own anecdotal experience have found that about the 10-year mark is kind of burnout central. You know what I mean? Like you're skipping to work the first few years, and then you got some shop politics going on or whatever, and you start getting kind of burnt out. And I can imagine if I worked in a walk-in shop where everybody was shoving their phone in my face to say, Pinterest this and Pinterest that, I would get burnout as well. Yeah. Funnily, it took me, I think it was the first or second evergreen before I started actually being really picky. I was so ingrained in me. I could just hear Joe Capobianco yelling at me, take everything that walks in the fucking door. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, who do you think you are? So I was like, yeah. So in a lot of ways, I was like kind of old school, compared to a lot of people today. But I was talking to the amazing tattooer from the UK, Jason Butcher, at Evergreen, and I remember I was squatting down, kind of watching him work, and he was doing this beautiful tattoo, and it was so his style, and I said, at what point do you feel comfortable to do that? And he goes, you're Joshua fucking Carlton. Why wouldn't you do that? And it like took him to give me permission.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. It's that's a great word. So many of us are looking for permission or need it. And I'm not saying you don't need it, because in a way you needed it. And that's how beautiful how the universe delivered that to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was floating the rest of the convention because I was just like, my second career is about to start, and I'm going to, like my wife is very, supportive. So I said, look, when we get this guy that wants a koi fish with a mustache, I'm not going to do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm going to lose a little bit of money at first until it's lined up. And it didn't really. It was a pretty seamless transition, but I think I have such a fear of coming off as a prima donna of like, I only do girls' faces and bloody stuff.
Right.
I would be the tribal master if my family was hungry.
Oh,
you know what
of
course.
course.
Circumstances wise,
that's a huge
difference. I will do anything.
Right. We know, you said this before, even you, Joshua Carlton, you are not above it. You say that to me all the time.
I love tattooing. Yes. Well, here's an example, and like not to brag, but like, okay, let's take the Evergreen Tattoo Convention again. One of the feedback that we get the most is people were like, Joshua Carlton just took my trash out.
Yes.
Riley just brought me a sandwich and a Red Bull.
Come on.
What convention can you go to where the owners are like, hey, do you need anything? And they mean it.
Yes.
If I'm standing around, I am not above taking your trash out. I'm not tattooing. When the Evergreen, when that happens, that's my shop for that 3 days. I'm the owner of the biggest tattoo shop in Oregon right now during the convention. I want my guys to be taken care of. Yeah, so what am I going to sit around on my iPhone? No, I'm going to make a stencil for them. You know what I mean? So I think because I do really believe that, I don't ever want to come off like, yeah, I'm not doing your dumb tattoo, because I love all tattoos.
That's right.
I'm fortunate enough to be booked up enough that I can be choosy. It just took me many years to finally let go. And I'll tell you what, if you're at a point in your career, truly, it feels amazing.
Yeah.
Boy, it feels amazing, because 99% of the time, including my appointment tomorrow, I am just geeked about. I get to do a beautiful rose tattoo tomorrow. How lucky am I? I was like, hey, Nikki, am I working tomorrow? Yes, you've got that guy coming in for that rose. Awesome. I fucking love tattooing roses. You know what I mean? So there's my stress level, none. So I can, I can enjoy my day off without being stressed and come and do the podcast. And I'm not trying to figure out the cogs of this next tattoo that I haven't planned for. Because like I said, it was always, whenever I talk to clients, you saw a lot of me going, oh yeah, cool, yeah. And I wasn't really listening. And it was just like, I'll deal with that in the future. Just like I said in the beginning, man, that just came all at once. You know what I mean? So don't, I love telling people to learn from my mistakes, because I've made plenty. And that's a big one. That's a big one for me. And we can go real deep with it, like why I have a successful marriage. It's communication. It is communication.
Yeah, brother.
And it becomes difficult. I can talk to you comfortably because we're good friends.
Yeah.
I can talk to Hip comfortably. Do you ever notice sometimes you feel like weird talking to certain people? You have to get that ability to realize that everybody's just a person like you. They got problems, they got debt, they got doubt, they got guilt. Talk to them like they're your brother, your sister, your family, and you're going to communicate better.
Yeah.
But you have to listen. You really have to listen and absolutely absorb. Don't just hear them waiting for you to pounce with your next cool thing to say.
That's right.
Listen, because you might go, oh, I completely was misunderstanding. For all I know, this woman could write me back and explain everything, and I could go, I got it. You're awesome. We're keeping it.
So
you know what
good.
I mean? That could happen.
It really could. It really could. Back to guys trying to figure out when to try and make that move, when they can start to be selective. In that moment, what do you think, because people are afraid to make that move. Some guys are worried about what their coworkers, their peers, their mentors would say.
Yeah.
This comes
Yeah.
down to deciding to try and be selective or find a niche or start only taking on to build your own brand, your own portfolio in the direction that you want to be. Because we know, hey, don't put something in your portfolio that you don't want to do, you know?
Right.
So they're either worried about the judgment of their peers, or they're worried about money, like maybe, you know, like you said, when you decided to make that shift, you lost some in the beginning a little bit. Or do you think they're worried about, well, I want to make the transition, only start doing this type of style, but maybe no one will like my new style or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
think it's all three of those. I think you nailed it. I think that, you know, if you're in a studio where you're not the owner, you know, is my boss going to be mad at me or even allow that? Sometimes maybe they come into work and they're already lined up with tattoos that they don't even know about. I've been there.
Yeah.
Definitely a coworker thing, especially if especially if they really respect somebody's opinion and they're a little more, you know, old school kind of grounded, because we were in this weird, you know, flux of a different time. You know what I mean? It's like, I've been tattooing for so long that you would expect me to be like, do everything that comes in the door. But I got to be honest, I'm wondering nowadays, maybe it's okay to just be really, really good at one or two things. Like there's plenty of artists to go around. So I mean, I would never say don't learn to outline because you're only going to shade. Learn how to do everything. Have respect for what came before you. Why wouldn't you want to have all that knowledge? So I'm not saying not to learn it, but learn those things. But if your heart is really somewhere, like truly somewhere, and you know what you want to do, it might not be a bad idea to just really focus on it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
The last person that I taught how to tattoo, we had a lot of conversations about this, and he's chosen. He's never done a color tattoo. He's never done lettering, but he does incredible black and gray work. And he's honest and open about it. Like he's actually lost jobs because he's gotten really good offers at really prominent shops. Yeah. But they're like, you know, you got to be the guy that does everything. And he's honest. He's like, look, Josh taught me this. I want to be the best at this. And I don't think I can promise you that I'm going to do killer color work or or lettering. At least he's being, just as long as he's communicating, right? He's being open and honest. That's right. Some people love being a jack of all trades, what's the word for it? There's a word for somebody like a journeyman. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. And I love those kind of tattoos.
Thank God for those dudes.
Yeah.
You know?
Not every tattoo has to be a beautiful portrait that means anything. Sometimes you just get a silly tattoo or a fun tattoo. There needs to be tattooers that are like that. I'm actually more inclined to get that kind of tattoo than the kind of work that I do or you do. I'm more inclined to get a fun tattoo that's got outlines and clean. Yeah. It doesn't have to be a work of art every time. That's just what I chose. You know what I mean? And sometimes I question whether I made the right decision because my fucking job is hard as fuck.
Man,
so, not that other tattoos are not hard.
That's right.
You know,
I get it.
But like portraits and realism take so much time and everything. And I see these people doing like beautiful traditional tattoos, and I'm like, I know that's not easy, but it looks fun.
Yeah, yes.
You know what I mean? And like a good traditional tattoo is so nice, you know? And it's like, you know, I just love all it's like music. Like, what kind of music do you like? And I'm like, good music. What kind of tattoos do you like? Good. I don't care if it's a blackout sleeve. If it's solid black, I'm like, damn, dude, that's impressive.
Fuck yeah, man.
Lettering, traditional, dot work. I love all of it. I just love tattoos.
That's right, brother. And so when someone's starting, because like you said, you know, they got to, you know, it's good to learn it all in the beginning, and you got to earn it and then build into it. Everyone that starts out, we want them to learn it all, but even at the beginning, because, you know, even growing up as kids, we're all asked like, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up, right? When you're a kid, you're asked that. Then when you get older in high school, it's like, hey, are you going to trade school or college? We're always being asked, who are you gonna be? What college are you going to? Like, and all that. It's always a future esque type question, and I believe instead of asking our children that, we should help them discover who they already are, and what they're already into. Because it's not about like how smart are you; it's about how are you smart already. And it's about helping all of us, wherever we're at, from our children to me and you right now, is to discover who we are and then go towards that. The desires of our heart, I believe, are foreknowledge of your future. You know, the ancient scripture says, God gives you the desires of your heart. Well, people take that out of context all the time, turn it into a prayer thing. Like, okay, if I have a desire and I pray and ask God, then he'll give it to me. And that's not what that verse means, as much as you already have desires in your heart. You have your whole life. You've been drawn towards art. You've had all these desires. Where the fuck do you think they came from in the first place?
Right.
Since they were instilled and given to you on a creative level, created by a creator for you to be a creator to now create. And you get to choose, you get to decide. But how do you choose? From the desire on the inside of you. There's something inside of you, Josh, that led you to be the artist you are versus the traditional guy, right?
Right.
And
right.
that's fucking amazing. And that's what we all get to do. And that's why even early on with apprentices, I'll ask them, because you were saying a minute ago, I love all kinds of tattoos. Well, any apprentice, if they're following tattooer, I'm already asking them, what are you drawn towards? If you could tattoo like anything,
Right.
whose work would you want to emulate? And so we're trying to, and if they know, cool, we'll start that direction. If they don't, it's like taste it all. But the second you get a poll, I believe is the second you're allowed to start building that way. And yes,
Right.
if you have to sacrifice on consistent money on front, whatever, it don't fucking matter when you're drawn to it. But oftentimes we don't have the proper tools to specifically build that, starting with permission, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you said, so all that is like so important because the desires we can't control. They're going to show up. That's why the dude on the way here was asking, like, he's got a desire to start to be selective, but he still, when can I?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you got to reach out and ask. It's like the permission thing is powerful, you know?
Man, it is, even if that's with your own self. And so if anything right now, I'm hoping that you and I get to be vessels, like, to be other people's permission. But dude, I want to give you a little analogy. My twin brother always do this with me growing up. Well, here's a perfect example, man, where he knew I was at a place in my life where I was ready for love. I was ready to find the one, which was never me. I was never that guy, but I was at a place where, and basically I was with the wrong woman, and I was in a really toxic relationship. It was just sucking the life out of me. He's my twin brother, known me since womb and could tell it, you know?
Right.
Anyways, he had the audacity to say this to me, which I'm so glad he did. But basically, since I was in a wrong relationship, knowingly, and just staying in it, he was basically like, Matt, your wife is out there right now, living and breathing, and being prepared to cross your path, and the universe can't even bring her to you because you're with another woman. You're not even available. Mm-hmm. And you say you want the one. She's here. She very well may be ready for her, but the universe is looking at you like you ain't, because you haven't let go of something that's not serving you. And on that day, I didn't want to hear that, you know, but he was right. Mm. And oftentimes, especially in our journey as artists and growing, even that we can't even walk into the right relationship for our own career and our own portfolio until we're first willing to let go of the wrong relationship. And in this analogy, it doesn't have to be wrong as much as it's time to go to that next level, even if it's, I want to start building towards a certain style and start attracting only those clients. You can. Right. The second the desire shows up is the evidence you're allowed.
That's, very well put. I think that it's like so many things, like as I teach people things, they'll end up, writing me a year later and they'll be like, man, I'm doing this technique and it's amazing. And I'm like, I told you that fucking 3 times and they weren't ready to hear it. They weren't ready to hear it. And sometimes I'll notice that. I know in times in my life, just like you mentioned, you weren't wanting to hear something that your brother had said. Yeah. When somebody's not ready, it's I'm guessing it's a little bit like addiction. You're not going to get any kind of help if you're not ready for said help. You know what I mean? Like you have to want to be clean for that to happen. Otherwise you're just bullshitting and manipulating your way through the circumstances, so.
Love it.
Yeah, that's very well put, and I didn't know you. So your brother's your twin brother, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to see pictures of this one day. Does he got the beard and everything, or?
It depends on what month we catch him.
Okay.
He can grow a full one.
Right.
He'll shave it off, and it seems like a month later it's back.
Is he tattooed?
He's just got a couple. I've never tattooed him.
You've never tattooed him.
He just got a couple.
It's funny that my sister Jamie Carino, she's married to a tattoo artist as well, just absolutely doing incredible in the industry.
Yeah.
She started doing those little tiny portraits, those little micro portraits, and she's just really killing it. So it's so neat to see because, when she was a kid, I was like, are you going to be a tattoo artist? And she wasn't interested at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she actually talked me, I shouldn't be saying this on air, but she talked me into tattooing her at 15.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's awesome.
Horrible little fairy on her stomach.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that looks amazing.
Hell yeah. That's iconic. That's epic now. That piece.
I remember making her write a report, like write me a 5-page report on why you think you should get this tattoo. And if it's like spelled correctly and your punctuation is good and it makes sense, I'll tattoo you. That's what I made her do.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome. That's so good. How many years older are you?
Let's see. I think we're about 10 years apart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I wasn't too terribly old or that I hadn't been tattooing that long yet.
Right.
But what's weird is I feel like my mom knew. I don't think we did it in secret. I think my mom was okay with it because she was like, yeah, you're a really good tattooer. Who knows? I tattooed my mom too. I tattooed my whole family. I tattooed my dad, Man. So, that was they were very, very supportive of me for sure,
Dude, that's beautiful. I can't help but think, it's easy for you and I, especially because we've done it, to just sit here and tell our listeners like, hey, make the shift. You can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though that's true. So one, you've got the permission. The next thing is, even if a man or a woman could receive that in their heart, okay, but now what? How?
Right.
How the fuck do I do that, right? Because everyone's in different places with different levels of support, if any, or support to actually get there. You could be working with 10 guys. Don't mean they fucking know how to do that, So for our listeners listening that want to know how, well, obviously, staying plugged into this podcast is always going to be growth for you. 2, you can join our Tattoo Guardians Facebook group and literally engage in there. And I want to extend the invite for you to reach out to us personally. It's something I'm real passionate about. I actually have a coaching program for tattooers where we teach this very thing. So if you're out there and you want help on how, please reach out to us.
Yeah, there's some amazing things going on that forum right now. It's like one of the most exciting forums on Facebook right now. It's
awesome.
lively. It's very, very real.
Yeah.
It's not a bunch of people bashing each other. It's a lot of people that are really interested in help.
Yeah.
I have something I'd like to offer.
Okay.
For the people, and if I'm not interrupting you, Matt, at least.
No, brother, please.
So for the people who, you've likely heard me talk about this, but I've kind of figured out a little bit of a scenario that I can walk you through. If you are wanting to make this change and you're wanting to do your thing, right? Well, if you're worried about your boss, all your generally your boss isn't, well, as long as we're making money, you know what I mean? Like, are you going to be turning things away and playing your video games all day? Mm-hmm. So here's what I found really works well. And again, I understand that it's going to work a little better for me than your newer tattoo, or I guess if you're newer, I shouldn't say, because you wouldn't be doing your own thing just yet. But you should be a good seasoned tattooer to be able to do this, first of all, of course. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what I have found is that we live in this age now where most of us have iPads, and carrying around a giant roll of tracing paper and backpack full of art supplies and sitting at Denny's and drawing all night. You should be filling up sketchbooks and stuff, but take advantage of what your iPad offers you. And I have found personally, if I give my clients a choice, you're going to sell tattoos really fast. So what I like to do is I use my iPad, and I can, if anybody wants to know how to do this, I'm going to take a little video of me doing it, and I'm going to share it. I'll share it on Tattoo Guardians. Okay. It's a really, really fast way to rapidly put out multiple designs. And what I do is I make these designs. I always make 3 of them. And I always ask myself, are you so into this, would you actually do it for free, like on a friend? So you want to make it to where you're, right? You want it to be where you're super excited about it. Now, if I had to draw these, we're talking about way too much work. I can put together 3 designs in 30 minutes that I love. Okay, so I'm willing to do this tattoo for free. I'm going to post all 3 images on Instagram, on all my socials, right? And I'm going to say, I'm really excited about this style. I would really like to do this. Message me here if you want to get one of these designs. First come, first serve. Now, what's happening is a psychological thing. If it's one picture, you're going to get mostly people that are simply going to say, killer as usual, bro. I get it if it was my wife's face or whatever.
Yeah.
But they're just going to talk, right? When you give them 3 choices, there's a psychological thing that happens. Now they are in control. They are making that decision, right? You're not telling them. Now you would do all 3 of these for free. Now somebody goes, oh, I love the second one. Boom, you book it, right? You would do it for free, so you give them a discount. But I'm talking if you would normally get $1,200, maybe you're going to get $900, and of course you're going to say yes to that, and of course your boss is going to be okay with that because it's still high dollars, right? Now these are big tattoos. You can do whatever price range fits your thing.
Sure.
But what inevitably happens is you usually book about 2 of them relatively quickly.
Yeah.
It kind of shows you like what's popular. Maybe the third one wasn't as popular. If you love it, that's fine. Keep doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
But what happens is all of a sudden, 2, 3, 4 days later, people are writing you that are just now seeing it and are like, oh, I love the first one. It's already booked, right?
Yeah.
But you say, but I love this style. I'm putting together 3 more. I'm going to send them to you first.
Come on.
Right?
Man.
So now you've got 3, 4 guys that want, so you don't even put it on, you're not even posting it. All of a sudden, you're booked for a week with shit that you would do for free for $900 a pop. Your boss is happy. You're stoked. Your Instagram aesthetically is matching now because you have these beautiful tattoos. This is who I am. This is me. It changes your career.
Oh, yes, Josh.
It changes your career. Not to just babble on, but let me just mention.
You're not babbling. You giving everybody gold. Yeah.
I never understood or thought about the power of branding, right? It sounds like a gross word almost to me. So I always used to say, look, just do really good tattoos. You're going to be fine. And that is still factual. However, I have learned that that is simply the world that we live in. And that's why when you say, how can that artist have work in a gallery when they simply painted a canvas solid black and it's selling for $1 million in the gallery?
That's right.
It's not that they painted a picture better than you could. They are marketed and branded themselves in such a way that people clamor to them. It's part of their tribe, which we've talked about in the past.
Yeah.
Their fans are invested into this person. Whatever they do,
That's right.
they're down. They are into it. You know what I mean? And so be the best tattoo artist you can be, but don't be afraid to market yourself a bit. I used to shy away from it so much. People didn't even know what I looked like. I'd go to conventions and people were like, I didn't even know what your face looked like because all I ever showed is my work.
Right.
And if you look at the last year of my Instagram, it's not in your face, but there's a little bit more of me, of basically simply saying, this is who I am. If you're like me and you want to be a part of this journey, come with me. You know what I mean? That's all it is. And that makes people that think like you and I do go, hey, I want to do this. And that's wonderful because you and I talk a lot about being positive and being giving. And if we can, that's part of our tribe and part of our circle, you are welcome. You are welcome to be here with us, So sorry, I digress. I'm getting off the topic of that, but give them 3 choices.
Yep.
Give them 3 choices. Again, I'm going to make a video and I'm going to show you a really fast way to make beautiful designs. And it's a little bit of a Bob Ross kind of thing where like you don't even necessarily know what you're going to get. It's like a little magic way to make something happen.
Yeah.
And you don't have to copy my style. It's just a very simple way in Procreate or Photoshop that you can put these images together. When you start giving people choices, that's when it works. I learned this from a tattoo artist named Cody Hennings, actually. He's an incredible traditional tattooer. Yeah. I was at a convention and he had just like 15 drawings of it was very traditional work put out, and he had a little sign and it said, "It's my birthday. Get one of these. You should get tattooed by me." You know what I mean? And he had so many choices. I was sitting there doing this realism stuff all day long and being like, "Oh, I made X amount of dollars," and he fucking tripled my income because he was just knocking out every one of these fucking tattoos because he gave people choices. It wasn't like one design I want to do. There's something for everybody.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And I was like, that is just genius. And I told my Jamie's husband, Pete Carino, about it. And he started doing it as well. Yeah. And I'm like, you're selling everything.
Yeah, that's right.
Your client needs to be the one in control. It's a weird thing that they don't even know they have. Yeah. That's why they'll say, can you add purple on the tip of that leaf? You know what I mean? Or that petal, because they have to have some say. So as long as you have them make the choice, but you would do it for free, it's win-win-win.
Always.
So,
and
yeah.
You guys, Josh just dropped you some straight gold. We operate the same way. I'm just so thankful you just told them choices. I always liken it to a menu, and that choices thing crosses over into every client on consulting with them, even when we're talking money, and I've always told guys, simplify it. And we usually practice on giving 2 choices, or I'll say 2 options on the menu, door number 1 or door number 2. We do have a third, but it's not even out on the menu. It's like on my back pocket.
Right.
And
Secret menu.
That's right. Because I want them to walk through one of these 2 doors. But guess what? Before I even offered these 2 choices, Josh, which is real important, listeners, Josh checked with himself first and asked himself, what would I love to do? So much so that I'd actually do it for free. And he got settled with who he is first. This is who I am. This is what I love to do. This is what I want to do. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Yeah. Now those 2 choices are yours to offer the world. Pick one. And the reason why we have 2, and this isn't just design as much as money options too, is only if they love both of these, usually they'll pick one. Just like you said, people like the dude, they're going to pick because you gave them a choice.
Yeah.
But in the times where if these 2 aren't quite a right fit, and it's usually a financial package, then we'll offer the third, really to try and help work with them on their budget where they're at. We're not devaluing the value, but we're trying to give them a way to where it's still doable for them. But we don't offer that because 3 or more than 3, too many choices, people get overwhelmed. It's like going out to eat at the Cheesecake Factory, and it's fucking, you know what I'm saying?
I used to put like 7 or 8 choices in a folder on my iPad, and I would say scroll through these, and it was too overwhelming.
That's right.
They're scrolling so fast, they're not even really looking. 2 or 3 choices is the perfect number.
Max,
and this
that's so good.
Yeah, and this is kind of what I'm getting at on the branding thing, like really understanding the way that the human mind works. It's a tricky thing. When I walk into a bookstore, there's so many books, I forget what I'm even fucking there for, and I have to poop all of a sudden. Yeah. It's just like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like you're overwhelmed. You read books, they're all turned on the side, and you have to look at them like this. I get overwhelmed. When people walk into the tattoo shop, they've been waiting for weeks, months, half a year. Yeah. They're nervous. They're not thinking normal. Like, have you ever watched somebody try to navigate your chair? It's a normal tattoo. It's a chair you just sit on. Why are you sitting on my armrest all of a sudden? They're being weird. Why are you sending your girlfriend to talk to me? You know what I mean? It's like, just sit down in the chair like a normal person, but they're not in that frame of mind. You're calm, right?
Yeah, right.
So they're nervous. So another thing, that I do, I hate talking money with clients because it's like, it's such a weird, and I'm definitely it's charge a premium price. But what I really like to do, again, I'm ready to do the tattoo for free because I used to do this for free all the time. I used to go to conventions and do tattoos for free to try to win awards, and that's how I leveled up. You know what I mean? Don't be afraid to give stuff away to learn. Yeah, it's not all about the money.
That's right.
We can get way more into money later, but for now, particularly. But so what I like to do is I like to work with them. I just like, what's your budget? Because you might be thinking 300, and they might go 250, and you're like, I can work with that. Or they might go 400, and tell you what, I'll do it for 300. Boom. Now they're super stoked, and you get that tip anyway, right? So again, it goes back to, by giving them the choice, by giving them 2 or 3 choices, you've already kind of established this organic relationship that I'm talking about that your fans need to have. You can't pay for followers and friends in real life. You can do it on Instagram and bullshit your way that you look cool, but you can't really buy real friends. So we have to organically build this tribe, right?
Yes.
By you emailing this person and saying, hey, since you chose one of my images, I'm going to give you this break, which again, you're getting plenty of money, so calm down about that. Yeah. And now this person knows Josh is kind of a friend. He kind of hooked me up, but I took care of him as well. I got an incredible tattoo, and all of a sudden the magical things happen. They're not going anywhere else. They're at least going to stay at aisle 9. They're going to go, the guys at aisle 9, they just take such good care of me. Why would I even look? Right. A good example of that is when I found the tattoo machine that worked for me, when I found out that I love the Flight Nano, I'm in a fortunate position where people send me free machines. I don't care because I'm not looking. I found aisle 9. I already want to go to you guys, and I'm not looking because you take care of me. Inkjecta takes incredible care of me. Their machines are amazing. They've made my tattooing fun again.
Yeah.
So they're part of my tribe.
Yeah.
So that thing that happens is, when I always say win-win, I'm happy because I'm getting paid for something I would do for free. Yeah. My client feels like I paid attention to them because I let them choose.
Right.
I listened to them. Yeah. They happily paid me my worth.
Yeah.
It's just perfect all around. And I used to just chaotically, like, oh, it's this much money. And then they would give me a dirty look and I'd be like, oh, it's half of that price. And I would lose money. And I would just, tattooing was hard. Tattooing was, not that it's not, but I made it so much harder by not understanding communication. So I hope I'm making sense here.
It is so powerful. There's a lot to unpack there. And listeners, if you're listening to Josh, he also just touched on something else, which was, and this is great. I love that I eat this up. This is a lot of stuff, that we have in the program too. But something else that, this is another thing we teach, I'm going to touch on, because Josh, guys, if you're listening, he just taught you not only how to make the shift, but how to start to live into it and to build it with his 3 options of designs that you want to do, that you love to do. You would do it for free. You put that out. Basically, instead of going wide, you're now shifting to going deep. Yeah. We always want to do both. But everyone that commented, I love number 2. I love number 3. Well, let's say if 10 people love number 2, only one of them gets it. But Josh decides to go deep with the other 9 right in that moment. Oh, you like number 2? Thank you so much. Someone else actually already has that, but I love this style and love to do other renditions and put something together. I've got 3 other envisioned in my head right now. When that manifests, since you liked it, I'll send it to you and he's going deep with them. Now they come in and get a tattoo, and that can go on and on, but the relationship is built there. It started there, and Josh decided to begin building with them there instead of taking the one that picked number 2 and not telling the other 9, hey, catch me next time. You immediately start building with the other 9. It's powerful.
Yeah, and you just absolutely nailed it. Building that organic relationship is everything because it leads to everything. So I would love to do an entire episode on becoming financially secure through tattooing. Yeah. It's just way too much, but just to gloss over a couple of things. When you build an organic relationship with somebody, when you come out with a new product, let's say that you fumble with armrests and you go, you know what, I'm going to build a better armrest. And you do. You put time and energy and money into this armrest. If you had no relationships with anybody because you ignore your emails, these are going to be hard to sell. But you have built this relationship with all these tattooers that you've tattooed, and they trust you because you've always done them right, and you're going to continue to do them right.
Yep.
When you announce that you've got this new product, these people are ready to go because they're like, I love Matt. Matt's always been great to me. Yeah. Why didn't we think of this? Matt just built this genius armrest that does everything we need. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're supporting you. Yeah. So I'm in a very fortunate position where after years of cultivating that, it's going to sound like I'm bragging, but if I come out with a print, it sells immediately. It sells out overnight. And it didn't happen overnight. I had to build the trust of, I'm going to ship it on time. I'm going to give you great quality because I print it in-house. I'm not going to, if you get one and it's bent up, I'm immediately replacing it. They know that I'm going to take care of them because they are my tribe. You know what I mean? And building that relationship it's priceless. We go back to, we live in this world where you can buy followers, you can buy likes. I've been doing a lot of music lately, and I learned it's just like everything else. Once I release my music on Spotify, I started getting a ton of ads. Hey, give us $100 and we'll give you 1 million likes.
Right.
Well, what does that mean? They're not real. They're bots.
Right. Yeah.
How does that help me?
I'm guilty of signing up for that when Aisle 9 opened for a Facebook page.
Yeah.
Nelson, we've got 10,000 followers from India.
Exactly. And so, as a musician, if I was like, well, shit, I got, 3,000 fans in LA and I try to tour in LA and nobody shows up because guess what? They weren't fucking real. You played yourself, son. You know what I mean? Like nothing attracts a crowd like a crowd. So I get it. You want, if a convention's an invite only, and someone's like, let's go look at Joshua Carlton's page. Well, I have about 50,000 followers, which is, it's good, but, some people have 1 million.
Yeah, right.
And, and it's like, are they going to pass over me even if they think the work is good enough, but they want that presence, that social media presence.
Yeah.
So imagine if everybody walked around with a jacket on that had the size of their dick on the back. You know what I mean? Everybody would have like, hey, can I pay to get my jacket to say bigger? Like, that's what Instagram is. It's like a big dick measuring contest. You know what I mean? Somebody's going to have the biggest dick and someone's going to have the smallest dick.
Right.
But I am proud that my organic growth, even though it went from 45,000 to 50,000, and that 5,000 might have taken 2 years, but these are people who might listen to this podcast or these are the same people that prayed for me when I told them that I had cancer. These are the same people that donated money to me. Yeah. These are the same people that showed me how beautiful the tattoo industry can be.
My God.
These people stood up for me. My gosh. I mean, it makes me want to tear up. Like, I did not have insurance when I announced my cancer diagnosis. And with a quickness, I had enough money to get my surgery in cash because of you guys.
Yeah.
I was smart now and I wised up and I got insurance. I had canceled it because I had a really bad couple of months of finances. I kept my kids on insurance but took my own away. And of course, as true life happens, the fucking storm came, right? But man, nobody cared. They don't care about why it happened. They're like, we got you, brother.
That's right.
And so I made a vow that day. When I'm scrolling through Facebook and I see somebody, hey, my shop burned down, I'm fucking helping. I'm helping.
Yep.
You're damn right I'm helping.
Yeah.
Because that's what we do for each other. And I know I'm going off on this diatribe of different things, but I get really geeked out about tattooing. So,
Love it. And you're so right, dude. The real currency, which we know is the relationships we build with people, whether tattoo or clients. At the end of the day, tattoos don't pay us. People do.
Exactly.
But you and I both know the real reward is the beautiful fucking relationships that have come out of this lifestyle of being a tattooer, like many you just broke down. When I do a tattoo and I build a wonderful relationship with a client, and I'm like thanking God, like not only would I have done this piece for free, but I need someone like this. They fill up my soul like so fucking awesome. And they can't love me enough, support me enough, thank me enough. Just feels so good where you get into like, you can't outgive God. You can't outgive the universe because I'm trying to bless you. And they're like, no, I see you and I raise your blessing. I'm fucking here to bless you. Like those are the type of clients that, and some guys would be like, that would be awesome. Others are like, yeah, I get those every once in a while. What if you could just attract them all the time?
And you can.
You can. And that's a whole nother episode, which is awesome. But the main point in the glue is the art form of building the relationship and going deep with people. And I think what I was getting at, because I rabbit trailed, was that the money they pay me is going to go away like in a few days this month to the bills. And I thank God for providing for my family. And what they got is going to last forever. But the real reward is all the amazing relationships. Yes, the money went through my account already and went to pay bills, but I'm still getting paid dividends, don't even know when, by the relationship. It's fucking beautiful.
Yeah. I've made... I might have 50,000 followers on Instagram, but I've made real friends through tattooing. You know what I mean? And these are people who not only would do anything for me, they've proven it time and time again. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you met, obviously my friend Riley's, one of my best friends in the world. I would take a bullet for this guy. Yeah. And I know he would for me. But just a little thing, like when I had surgery, I was told, you're going to want to sleep in a recliner. You know what I mean? It's like I can't lay flat. I have a thing where I'll asphyxiate if I lay flat. So I have to have like a wedge in my bed, and we can get into all that in a future episode. But for the rest of my life, which thank God I have a life, I have to lay at an angle. I can't be arrested and thrown down on the ground. It could kill me. I can't dive down. I can't go on a roller coaster. I just can't be flat. So anyway, you need to lay in a recliner for about the first 3 or 4 months to heal. I just simply posted, hey, does anybody have a good line on a recliner? I wouldn't mind picking up a used one or whatever, just because I didn't need it forever.
Yeah, and you 30 minutes
later, 30 minutes later, Riley's knocking on my door with his recliner from his house. Didn't call me, didn't tell me. He just showed up with it. I mean, I know that seems like, sure, we all have friends like that, but he was there. He is there time and time and time again.
Yeah.
And not only is he part of my tribe, he's part of my family. He's my brother. You know what I mean? For real. Like, I would really do anything for a few people, and he's one of them. And he's just consistently shown up.
Yeah.
He doesn't really care why or what. He's just ready to go. You know what I mean?
Priceless.
And it is priceless, because the reason that I did this convention with him. So see, I met Riley. I was teaching a painting seminar. He was the last person to sign up. He knew he was not. He had zero knowledge of painting, and he knew that he had no idea what he was doing, but he showed up and he tried his hardest. I don't know if you know this, but Riley's an extremely good painter now, by the way. I'm super proud of him. He's like fucking paints all day long, kills it.
Nice.
But he brought up putting on a tattoo convention, because I was complaining about how I can't believe how beautiful Oregon is, and there's not really a real convention.
Yeah.
And he's like, again, he's a stranger to me, so he's like, well, let's me and you do one. So of course I was like, you know what I mean? But he was smart. He didn't forget about it. He went home and got with his wife, who's extremely smart, wonderful, wonderful woman, Arent.
Yeah.
And they put together a proposal for me, and they had been in touch with the fire department and the city. They showed up on my doorstep the next day with a plan, like a real plan. And I was like, holy shit. Yeah. So I told Nikki, I said, let's go to breakfast with him, at least listen to him, put on your game face. We're going to say no, because we don't want to get into another partnership.
Yeah.
And we realized what wonderful people they were.
Yeah.
And Evergreen, I will proudly say, is one of my proudest things I've ever done in my life.
Man.
We were 7 years in. COVID took us out until October, but I'm damn proud of it. And I would never have been able to do it without the care and love of Riley and Arent. So if you're listening, I love you guys.
Yeah.
Always, amazing. But they really, truly showed me what really true friendship, like a bond is. I mean, I'm talking, on this podcast, I almost want to do it. If I just called Riley and said, I need you at my house, dude. I can't explain.
He'll show.
I would bet $10,000 that he'll be at my house in 20 minutes. He might be bringing it. He might be packing.
Yeah,
because he doesn't know what we're up against. Zombies, maybe. I don't fucking know. But he's never too busy for me, and I love him for that. And I just think that we don't all get an opportunity to get a Riley in our life, or a Matt in our life, or a Hip in our life. But the more that we try to build these organic relationships, the more you're going to see these people. And I can count my real friends on my hands, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Because my real true friends are exactly that. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So good, man. Yeah. And do you feel like Riley, most of them came out of the tattooing? Yeah,
for sure. Riley, he's got such a history of, he's done so many things. He drove a truck for years. You know, he's extremely intelligent. We go on a lot of really long drives together, because we like to just drive instead of fly for these conventions. And it's never boring, because you're like, he'll start talking about something and you're like, my God, you're like a secret genius. Yeah. I didn't know that. That's why on Tattoo Guardians, about a year ago, I said, hey, if Riley says something, fucking listen.
Yeah, right.
Because he can see around corners. And there's been many times that we've had meetings and we're going to do something and Riley's like, this is going to happen. And we're like, that's weird. Fucking nailed it.
Yeah, right.
He was always like, hey, see these doors right here? People are going to sneak in. And I'm like, no one's going to sneak into my convention. Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah, they did. Oh, yeah, they tried to. And Riley was on it. You know what I mean? He sees around corners because he's got life experience. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's got life experience. And also, what I love is that he's aware of what you don't know what you don't know. Man. So when I said, Riley, do this. When you're painting, do this. He goes, okay.
Come on.
I basically hear like a 10-4. That's that's what you need.
Yeah.
If I'm asking you, Matt, how to do something, and you tell me, I'm not gonna. Well, but I'm gonna say, okay. and I'm going to try it. You know what I mean? And that's how you grow, you know?
Jeez. Oh, man, that right there is a whole episode. I love it. Oh, my gosh. Yep, that's so powerful. You know, you and I used to do the Sturbridge, Massachusetts show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Together, and it's crazy. I guess I forget the artist name. They had like Japanese artist, come in and guest spot, was doing the hand tapping, the poking, and anyways, they were all around talking to him, and the artist was introduced to. He knew, who brought him in, the apprentice, whatever. Anyways, they noticed whenever the apprentice spoke to this Japanese artist to ask a question, he ignored him, wouldn't even acknowledge him. But they thought, well, maybe, he didn't hear him, but then when anyone else spoke, he immediately acknowledged him. Next time the apprentice asked something, he didn't even respond. Finally, Joe, from Zaza, pulled him, or someone pulled him aside. He's like, hey, notice you're not talking to and he's like, well, where I come from, an apprentice is supposed to be learning and listening only, and you can't hear it when your mouth's open. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that was like a whole nother level, this Japanese level of honor and apprenticeship. But it blew my mind, and I appreciated it. But I mean, he's so right. And it is weird, so many people that will ask you a question, but not really receive the answer as simple as 10-4,
Yeah, I mean, I remember back in the day, even when people would try to get jobs, if I owned a shop, and I'd say, let me take a look at your portfolio. And I just immediately was like, oh, I was on tour with the Grateful Dead and I left it on. Why are you even here? Like, show up with a stack. I don't care if they're pull them out of your pocket. Where's your stack of pictures?
Man.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, I just felt like you weren't really prepared, when I was trying to get a job, I wanted to work with Paul Booth really bad. And I knew I was going to be at a convention that he was at. He had put out an announcement that he was finally hiring an artist. And I was like, this is it. This is my dream. I spent months giving away tattoos for free just so I can do smooth shading, cultivating a book. What I did was I put my pictures in a frame, and I walked around the convention with my frame under my arm facing outwards, all casual, like I'm not doing it on purpose for people to be like, oh shit, let me see that. You know what I mean? And so when I finally ran into Paul Booth, instead of seeming desperate, it was pretty casual for me to be like, yeah, and boom, he offered me a job. And Paul and I have been great friends ever since.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'll tell a cool story about Paul Booth, not to get too deep, but a couple of listeners that have already heard, I went through some pretty dark, depressing times in my life. And there was a time many years ago, I called Paul Booth. I left him a message and I said, because I knew he was suffering some depression himself. And I said, look, man, I'm at a point in my life where it's rough. Like, I don't mean to bother you. I know you're Paul Booth and everybody probably wants something from you, but just, is there anything? And he called me back. I saved it on it was on my caller ID. I'm like, fucking Paul Booth called me. I saved it, Yeah. And he called me back and he was like, he talked me down, you know what I mean? And it's like, he didn't have to do that. I was nobody to him at the time.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that just showed you like this dark lord of horror stuff. Like, he has a heart.
Oh,
he might be black, but he has a heart. You know what I mean? And I'll just never forget that.
Yeah.
And so I do try my hardest to, like, if I see somebody struggling online with, I just lost my mother or I'm having a bad day, I do reach out and I'm like, look, I know we don't know each other. I just want you to know you're good enough. I'll do my best if you want to call me. Like, it's a lot to kind of take on. It's almost like being a sponsor of an addict. You have all these people calling you with their problems, but what if you save someone's life? You know what I mean? What if, and what ends up happening is that years will go by. I'll be at a convention and a random person will come up to me and they'll be like, you don't remember me, but you fucking called me out of the blue one day to check on me. And I will never forget that.
Wow.
That's powerful. That's powerful, right?
Yes.
And so the first time that happened, I was like, I want to do more of this. I want to be able, I can't give everybody the answer. I don't know the answers.
Right.
But as I know that the people that prayed for me when I was sick, it meant so much to me that so if I can somehow be a beacon of light to somebody on Tattoo Shop Council or whatever.
Yeah.
I say something in Tattoo Guardians and somebody asks me a question.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ignore them. I might take a little bit to get back to them, but I'm not going to ignore them. A guy wrote me today with a lot of questions about a particular machine that I recommended. And I was just like, can I call you? Because just like you mentioned earlier, because it was so many questions, you know what I mean? And I'm like, let's figure this out, because I know that it's amazing and you're having some struggles with it. So let's figure this out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we should be that way for each other, especially today, especially with the climate that we're in, especially with COVID. I mean, we are so disconnected, and I don't know what that's going to do.
Right.
You know, being so disconnected from your tribe.
Yeah, right.
What is that going to do? My son is 13 years old. This is the wonder years for him.
Right.
He's not at school experiencing these wonder years. I'm concerned. But what do we do? You know what I mean? So we keep going, you know.
Yeah.
But
for anyone that's listening, now knowing more of Josh's heart, like whether you didn't even know who Josh Carlton was, or if you've been following him, and you know, now you've heard more of the man's heart, right? You've heard more of my heart. You've heard more of Hip's heart. And I say that to say that we have created not only this Tattoo Guardians podcast, but Tattoo Guardians Facebook group on purpose to create a tribe for just that. And now knowing his heart and mind, if there is anything kind of like his Paul Booth story, if you wanted to ask me or Josh or Hip anything, please feel free to reach out. You know that we have a heart that we want you to win, and if there's anything we can do to help, that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You can reach out to me anytime on my social media. Joshua Carlton Official is my Instagram.
Yes.
Carlton Tattoos is my Facebook. Yeah. Again, it might not be the same day because we do get busy.
Absolutely.
I might read something. A lot of times I'll read something and I'll be like, ooh, I'm going to get back to that after dinner. Well, then dinner was good and I got a nap, and you know. So, but you know, I will definitely do my best to get around to it, because, you know, I definitely am so thankful again for what the tattoo industry did for me. I really I need to give back. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And that's what we're doing. That's right. And even more importantly, and Josh, you mentioned this last time too, which I appreciate. We want to extend the invite for all you listeners to write us and give us feedback on this episode and any topics that you would love for us to discuss with you, for you, on your behalf. Areas you're struggling, anything. Where are you at? And where are you going? And what would you like to hear us cover for you?
Yeah.
And we'll do that.
I think with that said too, like, let's talk about a couple things that we're talking about and see what the listeners like. I'm thinking about maybe doing some reviews of some products. Like,
love it.
You know, there's a lot of battery power supplies, and that's kind of newish to me. Yeah. From what I understand, there's some really cheap ones, and I've heard rumors that they could mess up a machine. I'm curious about anybody's anecdotal experience, but I'd love to maybe try some products out for a week or so. You do the same, and like talk about the good and the bad. If we can save somebody from getting something that's crap, or if we can say, man, this is a fucking game changer. Yeah. Because I've had that. When I got the Injecta machine, I was like, holy shit, especially with the 4mm cam. And we should get into all that machine stuff at some point as well. I love talking about machines. I'm a geek about all that stuff. Yeah. But if you're listening and you want to hear more tech kind of talk, I'm definitely down. We want to do something like that. Yeah.
Love it.
You know,
he brought up the finances, which, you know, I would love. I'm looking forward to that, and that might become a series.
I think it could, because it's something that came late in the game for me. Yeah. But we are in an incredibly fortunate position. When I say we, I mean all tattooers. Yes. You have the best job in the world. Let's just face it. You have, you know, we're not saving lives, we're drawing on people, but we have the funnest job. But we're living the dream. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I know that Matt can teach you some incredible stuff. I've got some new knowledge I'd love to share with some people that have changed my life. Really how to be financially secure. Don't wait until you have an emergency like me to go, I better get my fucking house clean. Man. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, let's get this going now. You're an adult. You know what I mean? Let's get this going now, and listen to Matt, because he's dropped some serious knowledge about how to take your career to the next level for sure.
Yeah, and thank you for that, brother. And you know, by the way, and the reason why you weren't with us last week was because you were teaching seminars. And for all you listeners, and if you're lucky enough, if Josh's going to continue to offer them, and He gives an amazing, and these are one-on-one seminars Josh is giving right now, and they are powerful. Hip and I each took it, and it was a game changer. So especially those of you that are like wanting tech stuff, and if you'd love to have Josh all to yourself one afternoon, I think he's still taking on a few.
Yeah, I'm taking a few, and like I do it on black and gray tattooing, color tattooing, or oil painting, and I have 2 different styles of oil painting. One of the good things that come out of COVID is the whole Zoom phenomenon, and I was like, man, I'm not able to do much, and I wonder if I could teach these seminars. And at first I was like, well, how many people can you have on Zoom? And it's like, I think you can have like 100 people. And I was like, well, I'll just do that. But that's too much noise.
Yeah.
I started doing this one-on-one. I just experimented. And man, let me tell you what, like you can get to the heart of the matter. What is this?
Yeah.
Is it shading they're struggling with? Do they not understand chroma value or the color wheel? Anything.
Yeah.
And I love talking about tattoos so much that it's fun for me. And I've been able, I'll ask them their permission for another episode to bring them up. I've talked to some people that were right on the cusp, you can tell, of like breaking through. And my gosh, the tattoos they're posting now make me fucking tingle. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. If I had a little part of that, if I had a little piece of helping that, like it makes makes my scars fucking feel weird. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so cool to watch.
It is
it's
so
cool to
cool.
watch.
And if you're a listener, and if you are at all skeptical on even being able to learn something technical over a Zoom call, let me just go ahead and give you it's mind-blowing. But like, for example, Josh, on my one-on-one with you, you shared 3 things. They were all technique of tattooing that were immediate game changers, like flipping a switch, like, fuck, my whole career just changed. Because I now know something that I never knew. And it's mind-blowing to think, like, it was so awesome. And I just want our listeners to know.
Yeah, those are my favorites. Like, I always tell people, I'm like, I'm going to tell you something, and it's going to change your life. Two things are going to happen. You're going to be super stoked, but you're going to be pissed off because it would have helped you so fucking much last week. When you were struggling, and now fucking it's just like 30 years experience. I've made a million mistakes. I've learned a few cool things on the way, and I am excited to share that because I want the tattoo industry to be better around. I always say a rising tide raises all ships. You've heard me say that to death. We can all do this together because here's my thing. People will say, aren't you afraid you're going to give your secrets away and they're going to be better than you? And I'm like, I want them to be better than me, but I'm fucking coming for you. Because when you're better than me, you better believe I'm coming back. We're going to just keep going in a circle. Teaching each other.
That's what makes us better.
Exactly. So be better than me. I want to see the guy that's sitting in the audience at Evergreen watching the seminars. I want them to teach it one day. I want to see you up there. I want to see Hip up there. Be better than me for sure. There's tons of tattooers that already are, but you better believe I'm watching them. And I'm learning, and I'm hungry still. I'm fucking coming.
I love it. Woo! Yes, that's so much fun. Oh my gosh, I fucking love that shit. That hungry. 30 years in, my man's hungry still.
I am, man. Whenever I'm not hungry, that'll be the day that we, I'll just sit in a rocking chair and start whittling wood.
yeah, man. Jeez, that's powerful. I love it. And that's not to say, because we touched on this earlier, because all of us hit burnout seasons. Life's all about seasons. We go in and out. So even if you're in a season of burnout, and so therefore you equate that to not being hungry, this too shall pass too, for sure. We go in and out of seasons. And I've realized that pain is a gift. You know, too. Meaning in the seasons where I was down on myself, feeling burnout or losing passion and feeling some sort of pain, that too, even though it doesn't feel like it, ended up being a gift later down. The hunger come back.
For sure, absolutely. Sometimes I'll come down in my studio to paint, and I'm just staring at a blank canvas, and I have no idea what to paint, and I'm frustrated. It's like, and then another time I'll be watching a movie, and I'm like, I gotta go paint. You know what I mean? Like it just comes to me, and or music, or and it just pours out of me. You do as an artist, we have some fucked up shit going on with us. That's just, you're not an artist unless you've got some crazy. That's the way it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm all stocked up on crazy over here. You know what I mean? So when you have that burnout, like it's not going to be forever.
That's right.
Don't quit. Don't quit tattooing. Right. You got the best job in the world.
Yeah.
don't quit tattooing. Like keep at it, keep growing. Just be open and honest with yourself. Like ask yourself if you're doing the work that you really want to be doing, whatever style it is and whatever, you know what I mean? Like reach out to me or Matt or Hip or whatever, you know what I mean? Or do some guest spots, you know what I mean, when you can. That's another thing. People are like, what do I do? I want to get out there. Man, find somebody that has a guy in the shop or girl in the shop that you're stoked on. Book a tattoo by them. Go out and see if you can guest spot for a few days. Because one, you're going to have to give them money to get the tattoo. You might as well earn the money while you're there, right? You can earn the money while you're there. That you can get the tattoo. Learning process. You've included a couple people in your tribe one at a time. You have a connection with these people. They might even say, hey, I had Joey out and he was awesome. I do recommend that he comes to your shop, Paul Booth. You know what I mean? And then boom, 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 you're at Evergreen, right?
That's right.
You know?
Man,
so
powerful.
You just have to be willing and eager. I think that I have a strong feeling that the bulk of the people listening to this podcast and coming to your forum, Tattoo Guardians, they have a motor. You know, and if you have a motor, okay, they are raring to go. Yeah. Otherwise, they're too cool for school and they're not listening to any of this stuff, and they're happy with where they're at, and that's fine. Yep. It takes a ton of different kinds of people to go around.
That's right.
I used to have this idiotic mistake that we were pretty much all the same, and that I was just hungrier or I was more determined, and it really took my wife to explain, like, not everybody can do what you do, and not everybody's meant to do what you do, and it's completely okay.
Not only is my wife the one also that taught me that, she's had to fucking remind me that.
Yes.
Like, not everyone's like you. Yeah. I'm like,
not everybody wants to take on the world and take on and do, and that's fine. There are people who are born to do whatever they're doing.
That's right.
And they probably are they're happy and that's wonderful. Like, but if you've got a motor and you're listening, I get it. Matt gets it. Yep. We understand. Like, you are driven. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'll do a painting. I'll go to bed, and at 4:00 in the morning, I'll fucking come downstairs and turn on the lights and look at my painting sideways so I can see it differently. And it's like, I'm that motivated, and it takes that for me personally. Yes. If you don't have that, don't feel bad.
That's right.
Don't feel bad.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right, man. I like that you touched on, especially like making the shift. Well, after COVID, now what? We got to do the best we can, whatever that looks like. But you brought up, how can we do all this together? And I just love that framework of thinking. So we're doing everything in our power to reunite, teach, sharpen, encourage. Yes.
It's so important that we are on these forums, that we stay communicating with each other, because we are slowly just drifting apart, and we only have our immediate people around us that we see all the time. Yeah. I mean, you're seeing people you're just seeing their eyes. You're not even seeing people's faces anymore. It's hard to understand. The reason that people are always, like, everybody says they're afraid of clowns. The reason they're afraid of that is because they have this painted face and you can't tell their expression. Yeah, right. As a human being, we look at your face and these subtle nuances. Everybody's covering their face up now, and if I'm smiling at you, like, all you see is you don't even know what I'm doing. Right. And I fear a little bit of what's coming because of how long is this going to go on? Like, I'm ready to get this vaccine. I'm in a position with the cancer stuff that I think I'm going to be able to get it soon. Yeah. I just hope so bad that we can just get back together. I miss everybody coming to the conventions and just bullshitting and hanging out. The best parts of conventions is the bar at the end of the night after work. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, not even drinking wise, just bullshitting. Right. Yeah. Just bullshitting and making, ribbing on each other, you know what I mean? And ripping on each other, and man. Yeah. Those are the stories. Those are the stories that you remember, you know what I mean? And so at least we can do this, you know what I mean? So please, please continue, listeners, to join us every week. Yes. We know it's a little clunky at the beginning as we're learning to do this podcast world, but we're going to stick with it. I absolutely love it. I'm incredibly honored that we were able to do this together. I've known Matt and Hip for many, many years now, and always considered them great friends. I had a vision of this. I had a vision of us speaking in front of people, and it's pretty cool to see it coming together, man. Pretty cool.
Yeah, and to reiterate to all of you listeners, we're here to serve you. And so we created this as tattooers like you, for all of us. And we want you to join in on the creative process of how we do this together and what you want that to look like, whether it's topics on the podcast here on Guardians, joining the Tattoo Guardians group on Facebook, and we will create whatever you guys want. We want to have a hangout and Zoom all together and have a geek out on machine night. Let's fucking do it. Whatever we can do to come together. Myself, Joshua, who had the vision, and Hip, we've just started this to bring us back together. So come on, y'all, let us know. You got some ideas? We're open. We're here to do this together. You know, a quote Hip always says, that reminds me of that we love, the quote says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together.
Yeah, beautiful. Very well put. Very well put.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Josh, I fucking appreciate you and so honored.
Likewise, my brother.
Yeah, man.
Definitely something I look forward to. You know, like I'm tattooing and painting and making music and all that. And, you know, when I know it's a day we're going to do a podcast, I kind of just drop my shoulders a little bit, you know, and I'm like, I'm going to have a conversation with friends. Yeah. You know, because it's a rare thing that we get to do nowadays. You know, I remember sitting around the campfire with Yogi Barrett at some convention, and I was just like, this is everything. Just these are the moments, just sitting around bullshitting. Yeah, we're talking some tattoo techniques. We're, you know, talking about this, but we're just laughing and having a good time. And like, we definitely need more of this. Yeah. You know, and that's why I like Tattoo Guardians, because whenever I'm in that forum, that's what it feels like to me. You've really created a warm space where not only is the room full of really intelligent people, but hungry, you know, hungry people that are willing to listen. And you know, I was happy to contribute to kind of a tattoo tip the other day, and I look forward to doing more of those. And I think I'm going to do maybe a video format to kind of just show you a couple things that I learned, you know. And I look forward to watching other people's. I'm so hungry to learn myself. Like, kind of like I said, when you learn something, you're excited, but you're kind of mad. Like, those moments are funny to me. You know what I mean? You're like, wait a minute, you did what with your needle? Fuck, that's amazing, but damn it, you know. I love that, you know. So
yes. Oh, so good.
And sometimes it's like a simple thing, but you just didn't learn it for some weird reason. Like, you know, just your mentor didn't say, or you're self-taught, and you glossed over something that's like, that's why that's happening.
Right.
You know?
Right. Even that little tip you did leave next week with or last week with
it's a big help. That, you know, if you haven't seen it, go to the Tattoo Guardians forum and join up and take a look at that. That helped me a lot. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because, you know, people tend to mistake bright tattoos for good tattoos often. And in the world of realism, really even in the world of traditional, bright isn't everything, but saturation, now that's another subject. So getting your colors the right value is critical. And that way I showed your viewers is an extremely fast, easy way to start doing it. You know what I mean? And we can go much deeper into that on other forums where I can start breaking out graphs and stuff, you know what I mean, and get real nerdy. But it's so important. The right color is the right value, and the right value is where realism lies. So,
Jeez, that's powerful. That's powerful, man. Good stuff. Brother, I think we covered almost everything I wanted to chat with you.
I feel good, Again, thank you guys so much for listening. I'm excited to keep moving forward. Excited to see some. We got some walls back here we can see need to be finished. And
humble beginnings for all of our viewers.
Yeah, we're gonna be able to look back at this and be like, I was there from the beginning.
That's
Think about all that knowledge from three artists that have worked a long time in this field and have been through a lot of. We're gonna be able to learn so much ourselves. You know what I mean? So. That's the beauty of it. I can't wait till we have some guests. I think we're going to start interviewing some tattoo artists probably at some point. Let us know in the comments on YouTube here or on Tattoo Guardians.
Yes.
Let them know your thoughts on who would like to hear on the podcast. Whose story do you want to hear? You know.
Yes. Man.
I mean, there's some of the best artists in the world today are tattooing. Yeah. So I mean. There's a plethora, you know what I mean? And I've noticed too, which I think is really exciting, is that women are just destroying the game.
Oh yeah.
You know, like, so, you know, I've been tattooing long enough that I remember witnessing, like, this is a boy's game. This is a man's world. Man, some of these women.
Yeah.
Woo. Man,
awesome.
if you are a female and you're getting into tattooing, it is the right time. You know, like it's amazing. I'm so inspired by so many female tattooers today. Wow.
Yeah. That's awesome. I've had I almost still want to say I think I've had more female apprentices than I have male.
Yeah.
But that's maybe 50-50. But yeah, dude.
Okay.
Powerful.
I've made the decision recently. I will not teach anybody to tattoo again if they're not in my family. Not that I have anything against anybody who wants to learn, but I've taught several people. They've been successful, but I just feel like I'm really interested in, like, if my daughter wants to learn how to tattoo. I should back that up. I should never say never, because the right person came to me. Yeah. Obviously, I'm gonna really listen and want to help. But so I guess I should have started more saying that I kind of hope my daughter wants to learn to tattoo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How old is she now?
She's 17. She just got her first job. She's working at McDonald's. And it's kind of cool because she's been selling her artwork like crazy. She's been making really good money selling her paintings, but she got a job at McDonald's because she wants to experience regular life. You know what I mean? If she just never had, she's like, what if I never had any regular job? You know what I mean? So I'm pretty proud of her for that. Like, she's proven that she could make plenty of money with her painting. She's definitely got the gift. Yeah. But she wants to work a regular job and interact, and that's really important anyway, just socially. Yeah. But I'm super proud of her for that. Like, she chose McDonald's, you know what I mean, to at least try it out. Yeah. And knowing her, she'll own McDonald's one day. She's that way, you know what I mean? So,
that's awesome. How old is your son now?
He's 13.
Man, he was a sweetheart when I met him last year at Evergreen. Great. When we went out to eat, standing in line. I remember, because we didn't sit together or nothing, but I remember, like, he looked around. We're in this hotel in this place. And I remember my heart being like, oh, because you told me that he was maybe concerned about the pricing here. Because, the fact that he's that young and just, like, already thinking about that, to me, it was like, pulled a heartstring.
He's very self-aware. Yeah, he's very self-aware. Very... he really thinks of other people first. It's just his nature. You know what I mean? Somebody was talking to us, and they're like, whatever he does, he's going to be. You don't have to worry. He's going to be fine.
Absolutely.
So, it's kind of funny because he's young and he's actually very interested in finances. He knows all about how much money Elon Musk makes and stuff. It's interesting to like. For such a young person to be, I feel like I could get him a book on finances and he'd be happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, that's awesome.
It's pretty neat to watch. Yeah, so maybe he'll end up like running the tattoo shop one day. You know what I mean? It sounds like he knows how to do things. So
powerful.
Yeah.
Josh, thanks again for joining us.
Absolutely, man.
I just want to acknowledge you for your commitment for this. I
appreciate it. It's my schedule's tight, but it's slowly getting to where I'm making sure that I have space, because I really love to do this. It's just, you know how it is.
Yeah, I do, brother. Which makes it even more cool that we're doing it despite it all. Yeah. If you're out there listening tonight, you have Josh Carlton's permission to go ahead and step closer to being you and the artist you've always wanted to be. Yeah, you've got my permission. You can do it. You've got the goods on how to do that. Hey, stay tuned in. Tune into Tattoo Guardians. We're here to serve you and to help you all along the way.